there's a lot more races. Oscar's done so much for you. And I was like, damn. Let me just put that into like the explanation of like, you can't do this by yourself, asshole.
Welcome back to Push Push. I'm Danielle Davis.
I'm Shannon Kessler.
And we are your girlfriend's guide to Formula One racing. And before we get into all of the wild and wonderful race recap, we have a little bit of our own personal news to report. We have joined the State of Louisville Podcast Network. So we are the newest podcast addition to this amazing network of podcasts, all based here in Louisville.
And we're excited to be the voice of Formula One here in the state of Louisville.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't going to like change really if you are one of our many listeners from outside of the state of Louisville. And that's a whole Kentucky like colloquialism. So we can explain that.
We also understand we live in the state of Kentucky. We're not. That is where we live, but the state of Louisville is just.
It's because it's a little different here than the rest of the state. But this isn't going to change any of our content. You're going to get the same great push that you are used to. The same Shannon and Danielle arguing with each other. So we just maybe, making a little more shout outs for them. And then as well as maybe, guesting on some of their podcasts. So if you are interested in, Louisville sports, you can maybe find some of us popping in over there and make sure to check out all their shows. We're really excited. They're also going to like really elevate our social.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we need. Going to be like real deal on YouTube. That ain't us. We didn't do that. Just so you know. Keep it.
No.
We're all shooting around here. That's going to be our new friends. Like they're really taking us to the next level.
Yeah, they have big plans for us on YouTube. I don't know if we are ready for that, but that means that now all of our episodes will be loaded onto YouTube at F1 Push Push pretty much immediately after we record. So that's an exciting development. So now you can watch us. Hey. Whenever you want to listen or, but you can still find us wherever you listen to podcasts too. So
yes,
just a little update from us.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about the race because man, oh man.
We got everything. I mean, we went to Hungary, but we didn't leave Hungary.
No, we were full when we left. Satiated. No crumb left behind. We have been asking for pettiness, and we were given. Asking you shall receive.
You absolutely shall. And the F1 God said, here you go. Have the Hungarian GP and do with it as you wish. And can I just say, so many things that I loved that I was like, God, I didn't realize how much I missed the following. 1, Ricky, Mad Max. Thank you for showing up in the Hungarian GP because
come back to us.
Better radio than a Mad Max, and I'm here for it. I'm also here for the Max and Lewis drama that we got, like the wheel-to-wheel combat that sends
for
a hot second. I didn't realize how much I missed that until I got a little taste this week, and I was like, oh my God.
Well, we got a little appetizer of it last week, I feel like. We've had a few little amuse-bouches of a Max Lewis.
A little rubbing last week, but we got airborne this week, and I was like, yes, this is sending it straight back to 2021, when the F1 was at its peak, at least where we entered into F1. It was our peak.
I was going to say, people about to come for you.
I know. People were like, that's not it, Shannon. I'm like, I get it. My peak was 2021. We get, Pouty Lando, which,
he had really matured, but we're back.
When he was like, I'm not as grown as you think. And I'm like,
actually, Justice, he did make a mature choice. He wasn't happy about it, but he did.
I get it. It was hard. A lot of hard decisions were made.
Honestly, mature choices are hard. I make them every day and I don't want to.
And
mature choices are hard, Lando. I get it. They don't get any easier.
They don't. They really don't. And you don't enjoy making them. And you also question your life.
And you're still a little bitter anytime. You did the right thing, but you're not. You're a little butthurt about it.
Lando, because maybe now, because if you're new here, I will be at the first to tell you I'm not the biggest Lando fan. I find him to be a bit of a spoiled brat. But I will say after this race, I was like, huh, he's got growth potential.
He's had growth potential, Shan.
See the growth potential, Danielle, the way that you do, okay? I'm a little blinded by Lando at times.
Anything else? What was did you have 3? Did we say 3? We had 3. Pouty Lando was 3.
Lando, Lewis, and Max, and then Max on the radio. Those are the things.
But what about, you're going to just leave off that your joy and happiness for the return of the papaya to the podium? Well, we've already had Lando, but Oscars
into the race. I was just getting nuggets of like, this is what makes
a little bit of joy.
A little bit of joy starting the race. Yeah. But I mean, we'll just dive right into this race because I mean, literally from the jump, I was like, ooh.
Oh, well, things were happening from the start, even in qualies. First off, yes. Poor Checo.
Oh man. So okay.
When do they can Checo?
Car, and then when are they going to cancel Checo? Like that's when I think everyone is
we should just kill Checo is the line at Red Bull. That's for the mean girls out there. They're just like, we can't keep him.
No. You know, Helmet's like, thank God he crashed the car because this is just going to be ammo.
Helmet's already just out in the press being like, he's gone. He's fired.
And Checo out in the press being like, I have a contract, you can't fire me. And they're like,
well, the clauses. We talked about the clauses. You know, not the Santa Claus, the Checo clauses. And I think he's about to fall off the roof. and someone's going to pick up the card and replace him. Because his time is near. Although I do think he had a good race after a disastrous qualies.
Qualies just felt honestly like a mixed bag of who gets to be here because, I mean, between cars crashing, tires falling off, people not being ready, I'm like, what? Did they not know they were racing today? Like, what is happening in this qualifier?
I watched the qualies after the fact, and I had to do a lot of fast forwarding through so much red flag work.
So much red flag, so much rain. That honestly, I was also very confused. I'm like, you guys knew rain was coming. You can predict like down to the corner of the track of where it is. Why are you surprised that rain is here? And why are you surprised that you need to change your tires?
But I feel like they're always like that. So, I mean, one team is clearly on top of it, and the rest of them are like, whoop, we didn't think about that one.
I forgot there was going to be rain. What was happening? I don't know.
It was a mess. It was a mess out there, but. Yes. At the race, but the way it finishes, Max goes wide in his quality lap, so he doesn't get the podium, and we get a full McLaren lockout on the front row.
Yes, we do. We get Lando, Oscar, and then Max on the third, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that plays into a very interesting start for the race on Sunday when Lando tries to get a good jump off the line and does.
I got to jump in here.
Okay, go right ahead.
When I tell you that I knew that this was going to happen, I knew that it was going to happen, and I took to the DraftKings because look, if there's one thing that Lando Norris is not good at, I mean, there's so many things he's good at, but the man is not a great starter.
No, he's not. And
I went to the DraftKings and I did and I checked out all the bets because I like to do some light betting. And the Formula One, if you are a gambling gal or guy, the Formula One bets aren't usually very good. You have to really go like kind of rogue.
Okay. Good to know.
But I did who's leading after the first lap.
Oh, nice.
And I said, I know it's going to be out there. I just know it. Plus 300, lose a little boost. Got that baby up to a little plus 500. It was a little, I didn't bet a lot of money. I bet $5 to win 30, but
hey,
that's what, I mean, if I put more down on it, obviously would have been more, but I'm just saying, I want everyone to know for the record, I put money on that. I knew that Lando could not hold the lead after one lap.
I just would also just like to state for the record, if you ever hear that Shannon Kessler has put money on a team, take your money away from said guaranteed death sentence to said team. So just so you know, I will not be placing the bets. I will make them. I just will put money on them because it is a surefire way to lose.
And frankly, I'm 2 for 2 on my on the last 2 races of my bets. So
follow Danielle if you're going to put money on the team. Don't follow Shannon.
I mean, neither of them were huge payouts, so don't necessarily tail them. But I'm just saying, I've been using this F1 brain.
Hey, and it's a good one. Okay, so Oscar ends up leading the race. He gets a better jump off the line than Lando.
Obviously, always,
as we knew. But what was so great was that Max was getting so irritated that he wasn't in first position that he starts to go after Lando. And Lando says, wait a minute, if I go any further, I'm going to take out my teammate. Pushes Max.
Oh, yeah. All 3 into the first turn was sick.
This is amazing. And then Max goes wide, goes off the track, and then leaves the track, comes back in second place, which if you're new to F1 and you realize you're like, can you do that? No, you cannot. If you leave the track and gain an advantage in position, you
got to give it back. Max hates giving it back.
Hates it. So Max gives us the first radio of the day that we should have just known this was going to set the tone. And he's like, wait a minute, I'm not giving this position back because the FIA made, their decision. And they're like, Max, go ahead and give the position back. We know what they're going to say. I'm also just paraphrasing what he's saying here. And he pops up and he's like, shouldn't we just wait for their decision? And they're like, Max, give the position back. So then he's like, oh, so we can just push people wide now? That's what we're going to do? We can just push people wide and that's how we're going to race? And I'm like,
oh. Max, that's the foundation of your racing style.
Exactly. I'm like, you just got Max Verstappen, and you don't like it, do you? No, you don't.
I mean, we knew that Max, we didn't know, but Nico Rosberg was really put Max on blast. Nico Rosberg was putting everyone on blast in this race.
He really was.
But he put Max on blast from the start because they did this, they did do this great package. And if you didn't get to see it in the pre-race coverage, I would recommend going back and watching it because they talked about how last year at this race, Lando broke Max's trophy. And so he goes back to the porcelain factory where they make this trophy. And that's where Lando's helmet was in the same style as this famed porcelain factory. And he goes and he learns all about it, does a tour, and they all followed him. And it was a lovely little story on Lando. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But they come out of this package and Nico Rosberg is talking about how mature he's not like Shannon. He's talking about how mature and how grown Lando has become. And he's like, I was really happy. Also, who was reporting their bedtimes to Nico Rosberg? Not sure. But he's like, Lando went to bed at 11. He woke up at 8 for his routine. And he's like, Max was just being immature and in the Sims until 3 a.m., just grinding in the Sims. Now, I know they know that because Max is always on Twitch doing it, but just put him on blast. And apparently Max went to bed so late and then got up and did another Sims race. He was just racing in the computers.
I mean, listen, I think, I don't, I'm not his mom. I'm imagining somebody's going to come in soon and be like, okay, enough. You
mean Helmet Marco?
You need to get to bed. Turn down the race thing. Get to bed.
No, I was like, when I heard that, I was like, that's every mom, like me walking into my son. I'm like, we're done. Yeah. Turn it off. It's done. But nobody's there to tell him. Where was Kelly? Where's Kelly?
Oh, no. Kelly can't be.
Kelly's at home with Penelope.
Tolerance for Mad Max. She's like, pipe down. Okay. Simmer.
But basically, Max getting not enough sleep was really the story of the day. After that point, that was all anybody could talk about.
Oh, it was great.
Cranky Max
giving us just snarky, flat out rude comments.
Oh, he's so mean, and I kind of love it. I hate it, but I love it.
There was a point, and I don't, excuse me, where they pan over to Hannah Schmidt's face on the wall, and she looks horrified.
Of course she is.
Oh my God, what is happening? Why is no one listening? And who is going to be the handler for this jackass in the car? Because I'm out. She literally looks so pissed. And I'm like, I've never seen her look stressed. She's always the calm and composed one on that wall. Never breaks character from that. She looks like she was flat out stress.
Well, it's because they've let him basically be in charge. Like once he won like the world championship and they basically anointed him as king, he's the boss. They've let him be in charge.
Yeah.
And so it's really not Christian Horner's team. I mean, this is a question. Do you think it's Max's team or do you think it's Christian Horner's team? Or do you think it's Helmut Marko's team? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Who is it?
I'm going to go with it's Max's team.
Yeah.
He has Helmut by the grip and they're
to
push Christian out.
Yeah, 100%. Agreed.
So
that's what I'm saying. There's no like checks and balances because he's the boss. So he's like, what are you going to do? Can me? Like, I'll tell all of you all to fuck off. Like, who cares?
Do it without me. And Christian's like,
yeah, and see how that'll go. And they're like, no, don't do that. So, I mean, he doesn't care. There's no, like, he has no rules.
True. This is what happens when the inmates run the asylum.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
And obviously he's done really well with it. So he's like, what are you going to do without me? Lose. You want Checo? Sure, have fun.
Have at him.
But yeah, I mean, he's unchecked.
Yeah.
He's an unchecked power.
Yeah, you're right.
But I love it. It makes for compelling racing.
The most compelling. I mean, we love dramatic television in a live sport.
And I mean, again, everyone bitching that only Max wins. Well, has not been the case. So here we go again. I mean, now I'm on a broken record and I don't even like that, but Max is not, he's not the only dog in town.
Oh.
So
I'm here for it.
It's a McLaren world these days. I don't know how I feel about that.
They do seem to have the fastest car. They do seem to have some incredible drivers driving said fastest car. And those two drivers aren't afraid to duke it out with each other. They're also not afraid to make the team sweat about team orders either, because as the race keeps going, as it progresses, we get a call from McLaren that I still am like.
It gave Ferrari vibes, but it still worked out for them. Like it felt like a Ferrari move, except they still came in 1-2, and all of us Ferrari fans were like, "Well, wait, you're gonna do a really ill-advised undercut, and you're still gonna win."
Exactly.
How does that work?
Lando for a set of new tires. And I mean, I remember looking at it being like, that's interesting. Why are you not boxing Oscar first? Because at this point, you're trying to undercut Oscar, and that was going to
He's the leader
in front as the leader of the race. And Oscar has been leading the race this whole time. So it was very questionable. And I think they even realized they're like, oh, shit. That might not have been the best strategy. Although they had to get in front of Max, and there were other people they were trying to fight. But it didn't make sense in when they did it. But, excuse me, they brought in Oscar the next lap, gave him fresh tires, put him out there. But that put him behind Lando. That's not great.
That's how the undercut works. I mean.
Here we go. And the team winners are immediately like, okay, Lando, you need to give the place back. Like, Oscar's leading the race. We want him to finish in first. And Lando's like,
tell him to catch me.
Don't think so. I have a fast car. Why are we doing this? And the thing that was getting me was that they started to go in hard on Lando, being like, oh, you're really being aggressive on your tires in this turn. And, oh, you really need to watch what you're doing in turn 7. And it's like,
the whole radios were giving the same vibe as like when you get into a fight with your parents at like a family dinner when you were a kid, and they're like saying things that only mean something to you. They're like, remember what we talked about. Remember the ride here to grandma's. Like that was what was happening on the radio.
They're like pleading with Lando's like human side to please make this right and give this space back to Oscar. And they're like, is he going to make the right decision? And then there's, I'm also like, is he
like, don't do it.
Mature enough, or is he going to be the spoiled brat that we know Lando to be and be like, fuck this is my race, I'm taking it home? But this is what I also have questions
about. Well, also, but Lando has a point. Like, he did make a point. He's like, I'm the one that's challenging Max for the world championship, not Oscar. And like, that is a very valid point.
And then they have a great comeback to this, and they're like, there's a lot more races. Oscar's done so much for you. And I was like, damn, let me just put that into like the explanation of like, you can't do this by yourself, asshole. That's what the team principal wanted to
say. 100%.
But he was like, "Oh, this is how you want to go." And then he brought out the remember the Sunday morning meeting. And
No, the remember the Sunday morning meeting was for sure giving the like, remember what we talked about on the way here in the car, like with your mom and dad when they're like, we said don't ask about that. Like, I mean, it was like gritted teeth.
yes,
Remember every Sunday morning.
I have never tried to find minutes to a meeting faster in my life. I was like, what did they talk about in the Sunday morning meeting? I was very curious. And then it made me think,
Should we make merch that just says Sunday morning meeting?
remember Sunday morning meetings. Like, is it, and I'm generally asking this, like, do they think in this meeting, or do you think in this meeting they were like, whoever leads the race
Yeah.
gets to win?
I think they said probably whoever comes out of this, like, you know, of the opening
Yeah. Like you're on 1-2
kerfuffle.
to the
Like,
first, like that's who gets it.
I mean, I don't think it was like first lap, but I feel like they're like whoever kind of makes it out of the clear of this, you know, 1-2 battle at the start,
That's who gets to
you
win.
know, that's who.
Well, then
They did say they were free to fight before the race. Like that was part of the conversation. I don't know if it was in that Lando package or in something else, but they basically said like the team has told us we're free to fight.
yes. I'm just curious, like when did it come down to like when it gets to this point, that's who we know who our race leader is going to be, and that's who the team is going to put their support behind. Is it?
I mean, Oscar did have like a big lead too. I mean, didn't he have like a 5-second lead or something?
And I will say, we have watched all season. That kid will destroy his tires. His tire management needs a lot of help because I mean he likes to push things to the max all the time in that McLaren, which is fine, but you can't do that if you've got to win a race on 2 to 3 sets of tires. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of him because he managed his tires better than I have ever seen him manage tires. And I was just clapping over here for my little Oscar Piastri just out there doing his thing.
Who do you love more, Oscar or his mom?
Oh my God, that I can't answer that question because Nicole Piastri is a queen.
That picture of her being like, cancel my Pilates.
It's so great. I mean, I would love nothing more than just have like live footage on Nicole Piastri watching a race.
You need that on your Sky Sports cam.
I need that as my
Press the green button to get to Nicole Piastri.
Exactly.
To see the race. I mean, I was really happy for him, but I'm going to go ahead and say I see both sides of it. But I mean, if we're trying to take down King Max as driver champion, I do get Lando's point of being like, I'm the one. I'm the guy.
No,
I'm him.
I understand that. I do understand that. And I think that is now going to be like the lead question in how they present
how they position this
on out. And I understand. Now, if he loses the championship by 7 points, they're going to come back to this race and he's going to be
yeah. And he's going to be like, I fucking told you so.
Which understandably so, but if you're looking ahead, it doesn't look good for Max. It's not like we're seeing him get better each race.
No, we are not.
Down a lot. So I'm not, I mean, I know he still has like 2 more home races because he can do that.
Yeah. I mean, the gap is not that big. I mean, it's close. It is big. It's still big. Okay. But it's closing. I mean, Max is at 265, Lando 189, Charles 162, Carlos 154, Oscar 149. So, I mean, I guess maybe, and if you're playing the long, like if you're taking the long run, like you are hoping Oscar gets this win and then he keeps on his trajectory and he leaps over the 2 Ferraris in the next maybe 2 races,
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of things can happen. In fact, again, I don't know like how many upgrades or packages we're going to get out of this McLaren, but I know that we have more. Like I know that they're like we're like mid-season and I feel like they always bring an upgrade once they get to the States. So, we'll
because that's their kind of home.
Yeah.
Home base.
I'm interested to see like where does that take them further. But I don't know. This is going to be very interesting. And
it could come down to something like that. And if it does, he's gonna tell him he told them so.
But yeah,
and so am I, frankly. I'm on Lando's team on this one. I'm choosing a side. I'm picking a fighter.
I'm picking Oscar, and not because I love Oscar more than Lando.
Well, you do.
I do. But I'm also like, if the team orders are
No,
A,
I get that.
then you don't choose B because that's better for you. Like, I understand you have contingency in the championship, but also remember, Lando, you wouldn't be in contending for this if your teammate hadn't been taking one for you this entire season. So
Yeah. I mean, and they are firmly, not firmly, they're close, but they're firmly number 2 in the constructor standings too. So it's Red Bull is 389, McLaren 338, and then Ferrari 322. And then there's a bigger gap. Mercedes is 241. So it really is like a, Ferrari really had a time, but they're really dropping off. But there is still a battle for those top
can
3.
we just give a round of applause for both Ferraris finishing this
Yeah,
race?
no fighting, no
For
fighting.
once, they're like, look at us, it's not us.
No, they're like, we're good. We still haven't chosen a car, Carlos, so we're all still kind of annoyed and waiting. But otherwise, we're good. Cousin Carlos was there getting silly with Lando, playing jokes, talking the Europa Cup or whatever that thing's called. Yeah, they were just having good times. But yeah, okay. And somebody kind of tried to talk shit to me about how Carlos out-qualified Charles, which he did. Eh. But Charles beat Carlos, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll just move right along from that one.
Yeah, we can just move right past that. Let's move right past that to Sir Lewis Hamilton on his 200th podium.
200th podium. And we did get a little, Max coming in for that corner, and Lewis is like,
I can't believe Max made it out of that and still finished in 5th place. Like, that's why that man is a great driver.
He really is. I giggle because I'm petty. He goes off the track and I'm like, he's out. And I'm like, that motherfucker, no, he's not.
I know. He's like, shoot.
I really thought that the tire was going to fall off of that Red Bull. I was like, oh, this is bad for Max. Giggle, giggle, giggle. And then he comes back in and flips me the finger. And I was like, I deserve that.
Oh yeah, he passed, he just comes back and is like, oh yeah, I'm still gonna come in 5th place. I'm still gonna get some points. Like,
but
GTFO.
Also, he's like, he just ran into me. And they're like, Max, that was, no, you were not at the apex of that turn. That was not his fault.
No. And I can skip to it. The news and notes of Lewis coming. Lewis had kind of a lot of sick burns. And I'm here for like the Lewis that has really like relaxed his shoulders a little bit. Like last year, Lewis was still looking for something that I think he was still trying to ride the wave of like his, unprecedented run of championships. And I feel like he's, gone to therapy. He's worked through some stuff. He's, gone surfing or something, but he's really like at peace with where he is right now, probably because his bank account has so much money in it. How could you not be? But he had some sick burns in this race, just like getting after people and just making fun of really everyone. Like he's like, Lando, calm down. Max, calm down. So Hamilton delivers brutal Verstappen put down with extraordinary mic drop moment. Okay, that may be a little bit hyperbolic, but in discussing okay, so Hamilton appeared to agree with this when discussing the incident in the FIA post-race press conference, which is basically that it was Max's fault. However, the 7-time world champion did deliver a dig at his rival before producing a mic drop moment for comedic effect. Yeah, no, from what I can remember, obviously we passed a back marker. I got to the braking zone, and then Max appeared to overtake the car behind me, so I moved over to defend, Hamilton explained, recounting the lap 63 incident. I left enough room in the inside, but Max locked up and he was going a different trajectory to me. I was going around the corner and he came shooting across. It felt like a racing incident, and it's easy to make mistakes like that. And so I don't feel there should be any hostility. Pause. But of course, from his side, there always will be. Like Max is in his I don't care era, but so is Lewis, and Lewis's is so much breezier.
Yeah. So easy. So easy. You're like,
yeah. I mean, he's just like, yeah, of course he's gonna start shit, but whatever. Don't care.
Make 200
unbothered. I just like this era of Lewis. Like I have moved from being like a Lewis Hamilton appreciator to a full Lewis Hamilton fan because this Lewis Hamilton is fun.
Yes.
That Lewis Hamilton, I mean, he's still like, I'm sure carrying around like uneaten pieces of candy to tempt himself and all that weird stuff. But this Lewis seems to have like loosened up a little bit and really just is just here for the vibes.
Yeah.
And he's like, if I win, that's awesome. And I'm going to be super jazzed.
Yeah.
But if not, I'm kind of just like here having a good time. He's in his Valtteri era.
Yes, he is. And honestly, when you win your home race with your home team the last time, you're going out on a high. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Winning the championship this year, you don't care. You're like,
no,
I'm in the.
But you don't suck. So you're like, it's fine.
No pressure, no stress. I'm good.
And there was stress in the cool down room though. And Lewis said, calm down.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a hot second. We'll wrap up this race and then we'll get to the cool down room because that was
the cool down room was my favorite part of the whole race. That and the Nico Rosberg of it all.
Oh my God. He's such an unhinged.
He's such a shit stirrer.
So much. So we end the race with Lando giving Oscar the position back, like on the last lap, making everybody stressed out. Like, is Lando going to do the right thing and do the team orders? And he does. So Oscar.
But we like the dramatic effect. Thank you, Lando.
It did make it interesting.
Yeah.
Oscar takes first. Lando comes in second. Lewis comes in third. This is a podium that just speaks to my heart. I'm so happy. I'm like,
it does, but there's Lando on there.
But yes, but it's better than Max. So I'm going to take it.
Okay. This is a Max-free podium, too. We do not get many of those.
I know. This is exciting. I love it. So it's great. I loved it.
No trophies were broken in the celebration.
I did see when Lando hit the champagne to spray. He sprayed himself right in the face, and it totally missed Oscar. And I was like, it just felt like the whole podium felt so uncomfortable.
Not for Lewis. There's a great photo of Lewis just spraying Oscar with champagne, and it seems like so much joy because Lewis is just bringing good times to the podiums.
It is, and
he's like, "You won, my man! Let's celebrate.
Welcome
forward. This is my 200th time. This is, your first at the top. Let's go."
I have so many. Don't you love it? It's great here.
Yeah, isn't this fun? Here. Let me show you how it's done. I mean, obviously, Oscar's been on other podiums, but not in the
first place. This was his first one. And I'm sure it will. I do feel
be the first of many.
Got masked a little bit by the McLaren of it all and the Lando of it all. So I hope that he's able to be like, I did deserve this race. And it's like, yes,
also, it's great to have, I would if you have to pick somebody to celebrate with on the podium that's not your teammate, you obviously want it to be somebody that's a good time. Yeah. I mean, I think he probably would have wanted it to be his brother, Charles Leclerc, but
no, isn't that his dad? Didn't he adopt him?
Or whatever. They're related now. But I think that, obviously having fun times with Lewis on the podium is
great.
Is a great way to start, your first of many championship of podiums.
That podium is a record for two reasons. One, it's Oscar's first win, and then two, it's Lewis's 200th podium. So he's going to be in the record books twice in a photo. Look at him.
Yeah, look at them together.
Yeah, but
doing things.
After the race, we get the cool down room. Danielle, what happened in the cool down?
Oh my gosh, the cool down room was first off. The cool down room. We hated the cool down room at first. I feel like when they first introduced the cool down room, we had thoughts, we had opinions. We thought it was a little silly, and sometimes it is. But it also has been. I take back what I said. Liberty Media, you win. You always do. And the cool down room has been kind of a delightful spot. They put them in that little closet with the giant TV and make them talk to each other. Apparently, I'm sure the AC is pumping, but the interaction between Lewis and Lando was so unhinged. It was also giving such Lando. This was peak of the Lando that Shannon hates.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm trying to find where they actually go back and forth about it because it was so funny and giggly. But he's basically hey, you guys, Lewis to Lando, you guys are really fast. He's just making conversation. He's just trying to fill the awkward silence, as many tend to do in a situation like that. Hey, you guys are really fast. And Lando says, well, you had a fast car 7 years ago. Legit. 7, like, is a scene out of like a kid's movie. Like, well, you had a fast car before. And Lewis is like, well, 7 years ago, that is oddly specific. And also, were you even here 7 years ago? And Lando's like, you had a fast car then, and now we have a fast car. And Lewis is just like, okay, cool. I was just trying to give you a compliment. Wasn't trying to get in a fight, but keep on keeping on, my man. Like, what is wrong? Who hurt you? Do you need a hug?
He did need a hug. He got hurt by his team, and he was not okay about it. He said, no, thank you. I'm not.
Lewis is like, here, come sit next to Papa Lewis and like, let me rub your back, because Lord Almighty. Yeah, I'm sure Lewis had like a crystal in his pocket or something he could have given him to reset his energy or something. But gosh, Lando, calm down. He's just trying to make convo.
Yeah.
You had a fast car 7 years ago is the funniest, silliest comeback of all time. He's like, okay, cool. I know. Okay. Weird flex, but okay. And that's why I'm here for this version of Lewis, because he's just like, are you okay? Are you good? He's not good. Lando's not good.
Talk to some things.
Yeah, he's like, do we need to just do a little walk about,
Take a minute before you get here.
Poor thing, Lando. Just, air your feelings, but leave Sir Lewis out of it.
Yeah, it was a giggly moment, but I was also like, this is getting uncomfortable.
Also, another super awkward moment was when Nico Rosberg is just grilling. What's his name? I'm having like a full mental break about the McLaren
post race of like, what did you think about those team orders? And then sticks the mic in his face, and Lando's like,
no. When he's talking to Adrian Stella. Sorry, I was having like a full mental break on that. When he's talking to him and he's like, just gives him a shakedown and a reaming about the team orders. He's like, you need to do a better job at the team orders, and like, you need to get a hold of stuff. Like, hey, Nico, just ask the quick questions.
And he literally was like, you need to be firm, and they need to know from the get-go what you're talking about. I mean, this is just my opinion, but this is what I'm going to tell you should do. And Adrian's like, okay, thanks.
Also, I need to know what the Sky Sports people were like after that, because I'm like, hey, guy, you're not here to really, just air all your grievances with all the teams. Could you just ask some concise questions? I guess it is good TV because we're talking about it now, and he is a full nutbag, but
he is unhinged, and he hasn't. So I think that's why he gets to keep his job.
Yeah, he just really fires from all angles.
I mean, his whole existence post racing in Formula One is to see how many digs he can get at people who are still in the sport, and then how he can bring it back to himself.
Yeah, well, it's always about him.
It's always about him.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know if you know me, Nico Rosberg, former world champion. We're like, yeah, we know. Could you just ask somebody a question about tires?
Yeah.
God, shut up.
Yeah.
Anyways, oops. Ooh. I just got sorry, this is a little racing clip. I was on some news and notes.
Well, before we get on to news and notes, let's go ahead and do our driver of the day and P1. So who was your driver of the day today?
Well, that's a good question. My driver of the day goes to Lando Norris.
Oh.
Because you know what? You couldn't have a P1 Oscar Piastri without a Lando Norris.
He actually could have. Okay.
What? I mean, he couldn't have.
If Lando wasn't there, he wouldn't have had a problem.
Well, but Lando had to let him pass.
But you said you couldn't have done it without Lando. Like, but if Lando physically wasn't there, he would have not had.
Okay, come on, get right, Shannon, about that. There's no way he wasn't going to physically be there.
He could.
What if he's like a ghost? So that's my driver of the day, and my P1 goes to Oscar and his mom.
Oh, love it. Love. Okay.
Yeah. Who are yours?
Driver of the day is Oscar Piastri. Congratulations on your first Formula One victory. Woohoo! And my P1 is Team Radios.
Oh, Team Radios, yeah. Team Radios won.
10 out of 10 this race. They don't get much better. And
Before we close out on this race, can we like pour out a little something for poor Pierre Gasly?
Jeez, oh Pete. Out of both drivers, the one that we like the most at Alpine, the one that the whole team likes the most at Alpine.
That one, yeah, they're the only one they want to keep, the only one they like.
Why the hell does he have the shitbag car?
Bless his heart.
I
feel bad for him.
Retire the car.
Every week he gets like 15 laps in and they're like, it's not working. Retire the car. This isn't going to go well. Never going to make it out of here.
This is what
retire the car.
I think they're going to need to ask Travis Kelce to ask his girlfriend for a loan to get them a big old package of money.
Yeah.
And invest into this car for Pierre.
I don't understand how they don't have enough money. They have like every NFL player and all these other people. Haven't they scrounged up enough pennies to put together a car that Pierre can make it around the track in for 60 to 70 laps?
Yeah. I honestly believe the only person that can save Alpine is Taylor Swift. She's got to get in there and help him out.
At this point, I feel bad for him because I do think that Pierre, one, is a king star of Friday posts. Like we could not do it without him.
No.
He's an unsung hero, him and Kika of the Friday post. But also I think he's a good driver and I think he has so much star potential. I think he really does have I think it's kind of like, he's starting to get over the hill and he's 26, but he's not. I'm joking. But I think that he has so much potential and marketability and I think he could be a star and I just feel bad for him because I feel like his time is getting lost and wasted.
I kind of agree with you on this, Danielle.
Do you think he was at the Taylor Swift concert asking her for money?
I mean, he was there with his boy Charles. They were there together.
Yeah. And they're girlies.
And they were all out there collecting bracelets, being Swifties. So maybe he's going to make a bracelet that says, please send money.
More money. More money, please.
More money. Get me a getaway car, Taylor.
Yeah. For real. If he doesn't get a new car, he's going to need a getaway car because that is just I feel bad for him. I just need to let it be known that I feel bad for him. I don't feel bad for Ocon, but I do feel bad for Pierre.
I do too.
Okay. Thank you for letting me say that piece. Justice for Pierre. We've hit on most of my news and notes, but there has been some breaking news while we've been, recording the pod.
Really?
It's official that Matteo Benotti is heading to Audi F1 as part of a major management shakeup. So he will return to F1 next year. In a statement issued on Tuesday, Audi announced that Binotto would be joining the team as its chief operating and chief technical officer from 1 August, which is, I love the way that Europeans write dates, to head up efforts ahead of its 2026 debut. His arrival comes with Sauber CEO Andreas Seidel and Oliver Hoffman, previously its chairman of the board of directors, leaving the project. So major changes coming as Audi ramps up its preparations for its F1 entry. So, get on board. Things are happening.
Still don't have 2 drivers, but we'll see.
They've won,
but they don't have 2.
won. They have the hoop. What do you think about these rumors of Valtteri going to Williams?
Don't hate it.
Don't hate it either.
Don't hate it.
Just keep the man. He doesn't need a lot. He doesn't need a lot. He doesn't need a lot of car. He doesn't really need a lot. He doesn't, but you have to keep this man on the grid.
You have to. He is
a joy, an icon.
An icon. No other words fit. An
icon. He's kind of filled the void that Sebastian Vettel left for me.
Yes.
It's just a spot of joy.
Mm-hmm.
And out there just doing things. Yeah. A man of industry, of sport and industry.
Yes.
Protect him at all costs. Protect him in TIFF. We've been critical, of TIFF mostly. But, they've really just settled into their lives.
They have. We really haven't gotten a lot of TIFF content lately.
It's because she's racing.
Oh, it's her season. Okay, you're
It's her
right.
season. It's her season. Also, my giggliest headline of the week, Marco says Red Bull, quote, urgently in need, end quote, of F1 summer break. Helmut Marco says Red Bull is counting down the days to Formula One summer break, insisting the championship winning squad urgently needs to take a breather and regroup. Well, ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They need to cool their jets.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody just needs to take a break. It is clear that this is entirely the fault of the team, Marco said. All simulations resulted in a different delta for overtaking maneuvers, but we completely misjudged it and Mercedes took advantage of it. I guess this is talking about that incident. I haven't talked to him yet, but I will soon. We consciously accepted this team radio frustration because we thought we would be faster on newer tires later. But if you know Verstappen, you know this is possible, but it's not necessarily heard on board the radio. That wasn't the case, blah, blah, blah. He's basically saying, like, Max can do what he wants. We made a mistake, but we need a break. In the first 3 races, we thought we were going to have a similar season to last year, but then suddenly there was a turnaround. Max is not used to that, and we're also not used enough to the fact that you have to fight hard with competitors. That's something that makes it better for fans and journalists, of course, but we have to endure that situation and eventually master the situation. That's what makes it better for fans and journalists, of course. Oh, a master class in petty every week, Helmut Marco.
Every week. I promise me you'll never change.
He said we need a break so that we can start crushing these fools again.
He's like, it's only fun when you're at the top.
We're going back to the minion cave. We're going to put those guys to work. We're going to figure this shit out.
Yep. Man.
I mean, Godspeed to everyone at Milton Keynes, because when the helmet comes storming through there, everybody better put their heads down and not make direct eye contact, because it feels like that would be a mistake and that you would be in for a wild ride.
Yeah.
Flesh tongue lashy.
Probably not so much storming. I mean, he's pretty old. I don't think he walks pretty fast.
I don't know. I've seen him walk. It doesn't seem like he's not walking briskly.
Throw the door open, but I don't know if he's walking that quick. But
I mean, not fast, but with purpose.
He does have purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose is to rip an asshole. That's going to be purpose.
I don't make eye contact with him.
Oh, I've never.
Don't do it. Don't do it, because he's gonna. We're still in the lead in both championships. There's still a lot of races, so we shouldn't pretend that everything is lost. But we absolutely cannot afford the small and easy mistakes. Yeah, we can't afford Max to run his car into somebody.
No.
Do you think that Helmut's going to talk to him about his bedtimes? No.
I did see like something, and I don't know if it was clickbait or if it was real, but it was like Max has, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's like he has interesting bedtimes anyway. That's not anything new.
Yeah.
So
I think he's always been a night owl.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not concerned about Max's bedtime. And I'm like,
I don't really think we should be either. I think he was probably doing all the same thing when he was winning the championships. So and he still is. So
well,
justice for Max on that one.
He could benefit being a couple years older, getting a couple more hours of sleep.
I do think that maybe he should just get a little nap in, maybe like a power nap. You're good at that, like a nice 20-minute. Yeah. Just a quick 20-minute shut eyes.
Takes a 20-minute before. Pierre Gasly does a coffee nap where he takes a shot of espresso, takes a 20-minute nap, and then wakes up. And by the time he wakes up, the coffee is hit his system, and then he's ready to race.
Yeah, because that's why he's a king. We just said justice for him. That's a great call, Pierre.
Yeah. Ooh, you know what? With summer break coming up, maybe what I'll do is I'll dive into the pre-race rituals of each driver. We'll do a little episode on how they get prepared.
Yeah.
I'm always curious, what superstitions, what do they do?
I'm into that too.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Also, before we close, I do have to mention though, I absolutely love that Max has not apologized for anything. I think that I need to let it be known. I know this is not a popular take, but I love that he just is like, you think I should apologize? You can fuck off. And that's the whole point of having FU money. What's the point of having it if you can never say, fuck you? And I know that everyone loves to hate Max, but I can get behind this also. It's good times for me.
I get you.
It's bringing me joy because he's fighting with Lewis again, and Lewis is being peak petty and good, fun, silly petty, and Max is being so angry petty, and I just love it all. Nature's healing.
Yeah. It's healing. You feel like the universe is right at its back.
Yeah, Charles has a steady girlfriend again. We really are like the planets are aligning in a good way. Again, we've gotten off course, but like, Charles is happy with his girlfriend. So he's like not, so sad anymore. Lewis isn't so sad anymore. He's fighting with Max again. Lando's back to being a little bit childish. We're all kind of like settling back into who we really are.
Speaking of girlfriends, did you see the video of Lance Stroll like making out with his girlfriend?
No, but I don't want to. No.
I was like, oh.
That's something I wish you just never said, because now I'm picturing it and I didn't need that in my day.
It wasn't great. I was like,
but also justice for Lance Stroll, because he's kind of having a decent run.
He and Alonso went at it this weekend, and I was like,
I know.
Sarah, did you just take down Alonso?
I mean, he's still behind Alonso, 45, and there's a big gap to 24, but he's kind of, he's kind of doing his best. And we've really dogged him. And
saying that his dad shouldn't have renewed his contract.
He was proving to his dad that he's worth, they've gotten a fight, and now he's proving to his dad that he's worth his weight. He
is legitimately the most midfield driver of all time.
Yeah, 100%. But I think he's like fine with that.
Oh, why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, I would totally be. Put me in, coach.
Job's not in question. Even if it is, you're still rich as shit.
Yeah.
You're still one of the best drivers allowed to
top best 20 drivers. I mean, arguably.
You're not the worst. You're
certainly not the worst.
Right in the middle. And he's like,
oh. Could be worse.
Okay.
Could be better, but not much.
He's too rich.
I also don't think he wants any of that like scrutiny. I don't think he cares about any of that. He's not a media darling or any of that sort. So he's just like, yeah, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
That's true. Media is not his thing. Just want to do a quick roundup of who did what on our fantasy league this week. First place, we have Susie for Prez. You're in first. Second, actually, we have a tie. 1, 2, 3. Three-way tie for second place with What's the Racing Point? Doors by Gunther Steiner and Take a Stroll. So
Take a Stroll.
Oh, wow. And a big shout out to, honestly, it's the first time I'm seeing this, to Dan Kessler. Red and green make yellow. You are in fifth place. So good job, Mr. Dan.
Way to go, Dano.
Is religious fan of the pod. And if I didn't say that, he would have been very sad.
Very upset.
Congratulations.
Very upset. Well, congratulations to all of our fantasy poll sitters.
You guys are doing great.
I am not. I'm find me on DraftKings, not in the fantasy.
I mean, my first place team is in 63rd place. So my last place team is in 90th place.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Again, don't bet on what I tell you. I'll have a vision, but I will never bet on that vision.
You will have a vision. And we have a race coming up this weekend. We are gifted with another race. Helmet needs that break. But before we really get into full silly season, we have one more race.
What are you doing?
We're going to Belgium, right?
Yeah, Belgium.
Yeah, we're going to Belgium. Delightful.
I like this track.
I like this track too.
It's a good one.
Do we think it's going to rain though?
Oh, it always rains in Belgium.
I know. I feel like we always get a little bit of a little rain, but then we get a 3-week break. Do you think, please, I'm going to say so many prayers. I'm going to light my Charles candle. I may buy a Carlos candle and light it. Do you think Carlos Sainz will pick a team during the break?
Yes, I do.
God, if he doesn't soon.
I do. And if I had to make a guess right now, I see him in a black suit. I see him going to Mercedes.
Oh.
I do.
Okay. Well, they closed the door on Max to Mercedes. That was bolted shut. This is a steel door. They said, no, we're keeping you here. And that's another reason why Max can just yell at all of them to fuck off, because he's the boss.
He's the boss.
He's staying forever.
This is my seat. This is my car. You built it around me. Okay.
I don't know how I feel about a Carlos George team. Tandem. I think that was me mentally wishing that it was going to be back to Lando and Carlos.
Yeah.
I don't know how their personalities like will play in like social media content. But they're both very brooding. So maybe Mercedes will just lean into just like fashion photos.
Yeah, that's true.
More like cover. I feel like the social will just be more posed.
It has to be,
Grabbing
it has to. I mean, they're going to have a lot of hair.
so much hair.
On that team, if that's the case. So they'll have hair content for days. But
So good looking. I just don't, I wouldn't, I'm not saying that I don't think they could be great. I just am not sure how the dynamic will be.
I agree. George just feels a little more like polished and buttoned up.
Stilted. He's a little more like.
Yeah. But then again, you go back to Carlos sitting at that beautiful table in Mallorca with his family, and you can tell like he is from money, very polished. And
Oh yeah. No, I think that they could go on lovely vacations in like vintage boats together, on beautiful European lakes and oceans. I don't doubt any of that. Are we going to get the playful banter? Like how?
Well, yeah, yes, because George is all slapstick with his humor of like likes to be a jokester.
George is like gives a lot of dad humor.
I was just gonna say he is like king of dad jokes and needs an audience for them. Carlos is just funny because he says shit and he's like, I don't even think he meant to say that, but it was funny.
Yeah.
He's
all
like,
right. Well,
that way.
I'm hoping for VB staying on the board in Williams. That's really all I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed for.
With you. I hope so.
But yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. Any other predictions do we want to go ahead and predict who's
gonna? Let me see if I can see anything.
We do like to do a light prediction, so let's see it. Let's put it up here.
I think we're gonna get a Lando victory. I think we're gonna get a Lando or I think we're gonna get a Lando
redemption.
Redemption tour is coming. I think we get a Max 2, and then I think we get Oscar 3.
Oh, so you're going back to the McLaren's on top.
Yeah. And we are just entering into the McLaren era right now. So we're going to be seeing a lot of dual podiums from these two.
I think that Max wins, that he does not stand for this aggression against him. and he comes out and has a crazy ass qualifying and just pedal to the metal. And I think we get an old school Max victory by like, not old school, like where it's like 40 seconds, but like an old school kind of new school, like 12 seconds Max victory.
Okay.
And then I think we get Lando Lewis.
Oh, okay.
I think there's going to be some sort of issue maybe with Oscar's car or the strategy or the tires or something.
Okay.
And then steady as can be, Charles IV. Because that's where he stays. Not in my heart and mind. He's always number one in my heart and mind, but I think he's going to come in fourth again.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, there you go. There's my thoughts.
This is where we are.
Well, now you can watch us on YouTube too. So make sure that you go and watch this episode on YouTube at F1 Push Push. You can see what we look like, how silly we are. See the setup, see Shannon's closet. Get a peek inside. All the episodes now moving forward will be uploaded on YouTube as well as Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, everywhere you can listen to podcasts. The State of Louisville people are making sure that we are everywhere that you can listen to us, so you can find us. So get ready. More Push Push coming your way. And if you're not already, because why would you not be? Shannon, why would they not be?
I don't know. Better questions have been asked. I don't know.
You should be following us on Instagram at F1 Push Push, on TikTok at F1 Push Push. It would make us happier than Oscar Piastri's mom canceling her Pilates class. And until next time, push push.